It is time where we trim and we press and we trim and we sew together our sections. I am done. It's taken me all day because I've had a couple of mistakes and I stitched some extra blocks, but we are going to put together sections 1 and 2. This is how I do it. This is how I do it. I'm going to grab, you need a couple of things. First thing we're going to do is we're going to press. I like to press with a little bit of moisture, so I'm going to be using a spray bottle with water in it. I have this spray bottle. I love these. These are the Mrs. Bobbin spray bottles, and I usually buy them in 12 packs, and I try to get them, and they didn't have them. I'm like a little bit heartbroken, but I'll have to find the next greatest spray bottle because they're not all created equal. So here are all my blocks. What I'm going to do is first I am going to cut them apart. And when I cut them apart, I like to cut from the back side. And that way I don't accidentally cut too close to one block or the other. And I'm just going to cut this one off too, even though I like to leave one on and stitch because it's just time. It's time. Leave a little bit, like ½ inch away from the cut line. Here we go. Here we go. I did this in purple, and then I also did it in just the regular thread. I did this one in purple, and then I did it also in the regular thread. So here, I'll just cut this. Here we go. La la la. ½ an inch, something like that. If there's nothing holding it on. Boo! Poppy was attacking me while I was trying to finish out my stitch out, so I just went and played Frisbee with them for 20 minutes. I hope that'll be enough. Can you hear them heavy breathing? Yeah, that is not me heavy breathing. Although when I'm really relaxed, I do mouth breathe. And you might hear it in some of the videos. Okay, let's go ahead and turn these all over and press them. So from the back side, oh, my iron. We got to heat that up too. And you can best press it too if you want. Might take a minute for my iron to heat up. Press it into a wool mat. And you need to be careful of things like this, like the vinyl, because you don't want to melt the vinyl. So don't leave it on there for a long period of time. This is why you can't really use muslin as a stabilizer. It doesn't really hold. It will be enough for quilted blocks. Okay, why don't we start with this? Let's start with those, okay? Oh, look, my iron's still heating up. One more minute. I'll do a little bit more. And I did 2 of these. And we'll decide which one we like best. Maybe I won't even put purple in. Maybe I'll just like the elegance of just black and orange. Okay, maybe I'll aim it this way and I'll do my pressing. That way this won't be in my face. Here we go. So I like to press one direction and then the other direction. And I am actually too impatient to press, so I do iron, which means I move my iron back and forth. And your goal is to just make these lay flat. Are they flat? Oh yeah, and it does get steamy. Look how steamy it is in my vinyl. But that's nice and flat. I'm good to go. And you do want to look too and see if it's directional. When you iron, it does move your fabric. It's going to make those lines not straight. So that's why you fussy cut to those lines. I actually get up on my tippy toes so I can use my body weight to really get that nice and flat. And if you want to press from the front too, you can. And look, I do have that little piece of vinyl there. So you can put a press cloth over it. Don't iron directly on your glitter vinyl. That's nice and flat. Oh my God, those purples are so pretty. This is the other one. And I didn't do black stars. I did purple. I'm lucky I'm only doing these in sections, right? Because it's tough on my shoulder. Pressing. That's why I use gravity. Gravity. Oh, don't forget to come in here and like trim all of those little threads that you don't want in there. Oh, I wish they were all so tiny. Boo. You can iron from the front side too. I like it to have a little bit of poof though, you know, from the batting. I love this one. There's just something about the stitching on this, the font that they used. If I get puckers, I don't really worry about them because I usually get them out when I do my final press right now. There we go. Itsy bitsy. We've got a itsy bitsy problem. And don't worry about your lines not being straight. You're going to fussy cut your square, and it's not going to make a difference. Ghost. And whatever blocks I don't put in the front, I'm going to put in the back. I just love that ghost. He is so cute. Okay, here's my other potion bottle. This is like the original. The OG, the original gangster of potion bottles. I stitched 2 more potion bottle fronts. Like I fixed the one that I did before. And I did it in purple. Because I was like, oh, maybe that's going to look cute. Don't worry if it steams up underneath the vinyl. That'll go away. And I love that there's some little bubbles up on the top too. So I just found those, like, the little bubbles were so sticky and they got on all the vinyl. I think, you know how it says make sure they're 1/2 inch below the top of the tack down line, the first one. I just made sure that it was like not in the stitch line. And then I went ahead and stitched it. Because it's just sticking to my fingers and sticking to my vinyl. Maybe I just don't know how to work with that. So if you have a suggestion, you can always add those comments. This one too. Doesn't it look like the black and white films? Classy. I'm actually watching, you know, when I'm stitching and I'm not recording, I love PBS, and I'm watching a special about how Gatsby, when he married his wife, they lived in Westport, Connecticut, and the significance of that time of his life and the writing of The Great Gatsby. But this is kind of like that era. Silent films. The Roaring 20s. Okay, we've got a couple more to go. We'll do these. We'll do these. This is for section 5, but I'm going to go ahead and press it now. This is section 1, and we should be good. There are some filler blocks. So we already did those filler blocks, and my filler blocks are already trimmed. Flat. That's the goal. That they lay flat for when we trim them. All right, let's go ahead and trim. Okay, so we're going to want our pop rulers. And this is one of the zippy bags with the pop rulers, and I love it because they fit so perfectly. And I need the 4.5 by 6.5, 6.5 by 8.5. So let's get our, we're going to need this. This is the 4.5 by 6.5. We need the itty bitty 4.5 by 4.5. 6.5 by 8.5 is this one right here. 2.5 by 4.5, there is no such thing, so I'm going to use a regular ruler for that. And 6.5 by 6.5, the square one. And I think that's going to be it. I think we should be good. We don't need the big ones. So let's put those to the side so they're not taking up room. We can use our regular rulers when we need them. And let's grab our blocks and start trimming. So this is going to be you can tell just by the size of it. This is the 6.5 by 8.5. You are going to lay down your ruler. Make sure you have these little grippies on them so it doesn't slide around. And you're going to see the back of my head right now because I'm going to pop it under. And I like to look from above, making sure it is around that tack down line the best it can be, but it's not going to be perfect. Do you see how mine's not perfect at all? And that's fine. That's how it's going to be. So do not cut right on that stitch line. Make sure you have a good blade. Just push in, hold the whole thing, rotate, and do all your cuts. Don't let go and then rotate. Everything will shift around. All heck will break loose. And it also helps if you have a brand new blade, which I do not. I should change, right? But why do that? Why change a blade when I can suffer? I think that's what we all do. And then you change the blade and you're like, why didn't I do that sooner? Okay, there's the chandeliers. We'll do all of the added embellishments later before we put the back on though. This one looks like 4.5 by 6.5. And again, this one is for section 5, but I did it already because I wanted to do it all at once. There we go. Looks good on both sides. I felt like it didn't cut through. You might have to do it twice. You can tell if it went through or not. We're going to trim, then we're going to sew it all together, including clappering it. Okay, lay down your ruler, make sure you are outlining those tack down stitches the best you can. There we go, there we go. Maybe I have to move it over. Sorry, you're seeing the back of my head. But you really have to like look down from above just to make sure you have your ruler laid down. That's like the best angle. My ruler moved a little bit. My goodness, those dogs are tired from that little bit of frisbee throwing. Might be just a little thread here. They're holding it down. There's my other flying geese. This also looks like a 4 by 6. See, if you did it in black, it would be so hard to see the stitches. And just know that, you know, if you make it fit here, it might not fit here. If you make it fit here, it may not fit there. Just make it fit the best you can. Okay? Nobody's going to notice. It's going to look perfect when you sew it all together. If you don't have a rotating mat, I would get one. Anytime I'm trimming blocks, I use it because it allows you to turn the whole block with the ruler and not have to like lift up and reposition. There you go. Anytime you have to reposition, I feel like that's when your accuracy can, oh, so cute, so cute. Throw that away. Imagine if I kept all of that. I was like, oh, and I keep this and use it all. That would be like serious hoarding. Okay, you got to draw the line somewhere. I did used to keep like edges of stabilizer and then I would sew them together. What the heck? I don't have time for that now. Because I did so much freestanding lace. Which, by the way, it's that season, freestanding lace season. That move? I can't tell. Nope, we're good. Sorry, you're going to get a lot of the back of the head. spider. Done. Spooky potion. Oh my goodness. That, the little shaker stuff in it is just like, it's the cutest. Like, who would think of that? I would never be like, oh, see that? I'm going to put it in my embroidery. And it's going to look amazing. You know who probably would think of that? Michelle. Because she is so good at embellishing. I'm boring. Boring sewist here. Hold the whole thing and turn. Don't let go. So my friend told me the new Suits is out. I don't know if you've watched that. But if you've watched that, that's the one with Meghan Markle. And I only made it to season 5. But now that I know the new Suits is out, I've been trying to finish up with the old one. And I just came downstairs to put it on here to watch it while I was stitching. And it said my TV was too old. It's not even that old. So I can't even watch Netflix down here. I was mad. So now I have to watch Amazon Prime, which is fine. There's good stuff on there too. Yeah. Ghost. Gauzy Ghost. Itsy Bitsy. Weave. Weave. How punny are they? We've got an itsy bitsy problem. Okay, I'm looking from the top. Looks good. It's never going to be perfect. Your goal is to just make these lay flat and then to frame the tack down stitch the best you can. Okay, that's it. And I've told you, right? My first experience with a pop ruler, I just went, eee! And cut right into my block. And then I was like, these are the worst things ever. It was user, it wasn't the pop rulers. Pop rulers were totally straight. And then I learned you have to kind of lean into the pop ruler. Don't cut into it, but lean into it. And ever since then, my pop rulers and I have been best friends. Make sure you check, because look. I grabbed 2. And I have done that. I've cut through 2 blocks at once before. It'll make you cry. It'll make you sad. Move it up a little bit. Left and right. Right and left. Top and bottom. Good. Keep calm and carry a wand. So clever. Top and bottom. Here we go. Lean your rotary cutter against the left side, or if you're a righty, if you're a lefty, you're going to lean it against the right side and go the opposite direction. Isn't this one cute with the purple? It's just like one thread that I can't seem to get. Doesn't this remind you of Bewitched? Here's my purple one. We're going to use whichever one looks better. We'll lay it out. I'm hoping to use the purple. Top, bottom. That tack down will get sewn into your 1/4 inch seam allowance, so you don't have to worry about it. And if you're a little closer on the top than you are the bottom, that's okay. It's okay. Nobody's gonna know. And here's my other spooky potion. Oh, look, I used the same purple, so it's going to be harder to see. And that's why you want to use a contrasting color. Okay. It's cute, right? But which will I like better? Okay. Let's get ready to sew. I think I did. Oh, I forgot one. So this one's 2.5 by 4.5. You can nest your rulers, or else I have a 2.5. I have a 4.5 by 4.5 inch ruler. So I'm just going to go 2.5 by 4.5. I'm going to fussy cut it to this ruler. And I can do 3 sides at once. Okay, there we go. So there's nothing wrong with just using your regular rulers too. Sometimes if I have a block and it's 6.5 by 12.5, I'm just going to use my 6.5 by 12.5 inch ruler. Why not? Why nest? Sometimes you don't feel like nesting. All right, I think I got them all now. So I'm going to lay everything out, and then I'm going to start stitching everything together. I'll be right back. Okay, here's section 1. Purple, gray with a little bit of purple. So it's just, I just got to commit, right? Purple. Let's put together section 2. Section 2. Section 2. I need my plaid blocks. So section 2 is I'm gonna put this right here. Section 2 has potion bottle, boo, spider, chandelier, happy haunting, and then filler blocks. Let me get my, oh, here are my, everything's right here. And then this one is the one that has, looks like that. We have the long skinny and the skinny, skinny. Okay, ready? Purple. Regular. Oh God, it's so hard. I think I'm just gonna put the purple in. It looks so good with just this. You know what? Maybe I'll save these and I'll put them in the back. Maybe I should just stick with the original. Make it the original, okay? Because we have one at the shop that has, oh God, but do you just love the purple in there? Do you love it? Purple. No purple. I'm just going to go with the original. And these are going to go in the back. And let's go ahead and stitch it out. So I'm going to set up my machine for sewing. I'll be right back. Okay, when I piece, I like to piece with stitch 103, which is a center straight stitch. I like to piece at 1.8. But since I have layers, I'm going to go to 2. I mean, I like chain piecing. So the smaller your stitches, the more it'll stay together when you clip in between. And I'm going to put on my auto lift. That will lift the foot every time I take my foot off the foot control. And I'm going to be piecing with my digital dual feed foot. If you don't have this, you need to get it. It is the best walking foot on the market. The sole I'm using is the 1/4 inch sole. They just snap right on, super easy. And I'm going to go ahead and take this foot off. Yes, I still have not brought my green-handled screwdriver downstairs. I saw it the other day. Still don't know where exactly it is. You are going to hand tighten. And then you're always going to tighten it a little bit more. I need my screwdriver. I need it. Because I like it because you can get your whole hand on it. This, you're just using your fingertips. Just tighten it a little bit more. You don't want that to shake off. And this foot will not work unless you plug it into the back. So there's 2 of these. I call the other one the original, the big butt one, and this is the little butt one. Because sometimes the fabric will get caught under the big butt one, but this one, it passes more freely. And let's go ahead and start sewing our pieces together. So you're just going to go ahead, and I don't pin it because I find when I pin it, it just shifts the fabric. Oops. Piecing. I like to piece with, this is what I piece with, Deco Bob. And this is an 80 weight thread, and I just use my regular Filtech bobbin. I like an 80 weight thread. If you're using just regular cotton or 40 weight or 50 weight, it gets bulky. The Deco Bob is a cottonized polyester. And I'm going to start with my needle down. I'm going to abut this with my needle. I'm going to hold it there. And it just makes your piecing lay flatter and less bulky. And let's just chain piece. I'm just going to grab pieces. And I'm going to sew a little bit off. Grab the next 2. My chandelier. Put my other piece on top. I'm going to abut it with the needle. I like to hold it there because the belt's not engaged yet. So I'll hold it there so it kind of does a little locking stitch, my own pretend locking. But once the belt's engaged and the feed dogs are engaged, don't fight those. Don't pull it forward when those are trying to pull it backward. So a little bit off, get your next 2 pieces. Hang on, I can't reach. Oh, it's really hard for me to not use that purple, but I'm going to go original. Okay. I'm going to butt it with my needle. I'm going to let it just lock the stitch. And then I'm going to just gently let it feed in. You have that flange right there on the 1/4 inch sole. If you don't have these, you should get them. They're going to be part of the brother sale too. Okay, so these top 2, will have to get sewn in later. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab, ooh, where's my keep calm? Sorry, it might be hitting the arm. There we go. There is a little bit of purple in here, so I think I'll maybe do some purple stitching. It'll just be like the tiniest bit. You just hold it there, let it stitch, because I'm not fighting the machine. When the feed dogs and the belt on the top are engaged, let the foot and your feed dogs do the work for you. Light fingers, light hands, you're just going to guide it. Make sure your iron is hot. We are going to press, best press, and clapper. If you've never clappered, a clapper is a magical wooden block that makes your blocks lay so flat and they look so good. Take your time. It's not a race. Or is it? Light fingers, light hands. Okay, I'm going to get my chain piece cutter. I'm going to cut these apart. I was thinking I might get a new one of these. This is, I think this is like the original cutting gizmo. See it? It's got a little blade right there. So, I'm going to turn it sideways just like that. Grab my pieces and just pull down. That's why I let a little bit of thread run off in between. Okay, time to press. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and press. So what you're going to do is you can go ahead and just warm it up to settle that stitch. Open it up. We're going to open these seams up. Otherwise, they're going to get too thick if you try to press to one side. Just run your finger down and press it open. We're going to grab our best press. I'm going to press it open one more time where it's really going to stay. And then you're going to clapper it. The clapper traps the heat between the block and the wool mat and just sets that seam and makes it lay nice and flat. There we go. And you can't get that seam this flat if you don't clapper it. Okay. All right. Warm it up and just settle that seam. Relax it. Give it a little finger press. And best press. Heat. And clapper. I have a couple different clappers. I have this one. I can't remember who makes this one. It doesn't have a name on it. I have the quilter's clapper from Riley Blake. And then I have these wonderful clappers from my friend Miss Lynn. And these are great when you're working in hoop or you're doing smaller pieces. You don't want to, if you have like something little, you don't need a giant clapper, right? And then I just bought the Riley Blake one, the big one, if you want to do like a whole block. But I don't know where it is. I'll have to find it. My friend Gail told me about those, and everything Gail does I want to do because she's such an expert, right? So if you know an expert, just do what they do. And then we're going to go for another round of sewing. Relax that stitch. Oh, you're so relaxed, Stitch. Open up that seam. I want to give it just a little finger press. Use the tip of your iron to kind of really get in there. Little best press. And clapper it. Oh my goodness, so cute. My last one. I was just sewing everything together. I hope I sewed it together right. Wasn't even paying attention to what needed to be sewn to what first. Okay, that's not good because it does show you how to sew things together, and that's important. So hopefully I won't have to rip anything out. Okay, round 2. This gets sewn together with, where is it? Oh, here. Okay, these two get sewn together. And then we'll add this. But these two first, I'm going to just put it on my machine. And then this and the boo. Those two. Where is this? This gets sewn together with this, and we want this in the top corner, and then we'll come back for the next round. So these 3 pieces, and then they'll get attached to the ones that we have here. All right, chunky bottom, you need to move. Mama needs to sit there. Hang on. Okay, let's see. Maybe I can just work around her. Hi, baby love. Oh, she's up. I had to trick the dogs. So I'm on borrowed time. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and sew these two together first. Check it before you stitch it. Which, I mean, that's what I tell you, but I don't always do it. Okay. There, it's catching it. This one. Here we go. And again, if you want to clip it, I would go ahead and clip it, but I wouldn't bother pinning it because you're going to be pushing those layers. It's just too thick, right? And I do end up sometimes pulling them apart. Sometimes I'll stitch something and it just, it is not lined up the way it should be lined up. Sometimes I just live with it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, good enough. That is one of the mottos of my life, my sewing life. Good enough. And cut. Okay, got my little tool right here to cut them apart. Just pull down. And now we're gonna go press. Oh my goodness, I thought I was recording and I wasn't. So I've just, I was pressing and clappering, which you've already seen me do. But now I'm going to go ahead and sew these sections together. I'm almost done. So let me go ahead and sew these together. I went outside because my dogs were barking. I don't want them bothering the neighbors. And then little Miss Poppy was out of the yard playing with the neighbor's dog. I was like, oh my goodness. And they have the cutest, I think she's a Springer. And she's so cute. But and then Momo was playing with her too. Oh, sorry. Was that like the worst view ever? Remember, you're the boss. If you have one of your sides is, if it's smaller than the other, put it on top. And you can stretch it down a little bit. So whatever isn't long, put it on the top. I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart. I'm going to sew that last one on. Oop. This one on here. And then we'll press them. And I think that's it. These two sections. Oh, and then we'll sew these two sections together, right? We'll have section 1 and 2 done and sewn together. You need some love and attention, Momo. They've been good all day today. I've literally been sewing and embroidering all day long. With a couple breaks here and there to play with the puppies. Okay, let's go and press these. I wonder if before, maybe I was recording when I should have been, maybe I wasn't recording. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to press this seam open. Okay, I'm going to press the other pieces together and then I'll sew them together. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. There's section 2. Here's section 1. Now I'm going to sew these two together. And there's one matching seam. So you do want to make sure that that seam, because you'll notice if it doesn't match. So match at that seam. Sometimes when I have a matching seam, instead of starting here or there, I will sew here and here. I'll open it up, look at it, and if it looks good, then I'll sew the whole thing together. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do right now. So let me take this over to my machine. Because I've just had to rip out way too many seams that didn't come together. You know what I mean? And I think that's more OESD than anything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this, face it towards me, and make sure this seam matches up. Go look at it head on. Peel it back a little bit. That looks good. Nudge this back so it's even Steven. Okay, looks good. I'm just going to sew right here first, and we'll see what we get. Oh, look at that. I'm not even in there. Did that stitch stay together? How are we not in our needle? Let's go ahead and thread it again. Okay, moment of truth. Let's take a peek. And if it looks good, we'll sew the whole thing. And it looks perfect. Perfection. So now let's go ahead and we'll start from this end. And we'll sew the whole thing. And we won't have to worry about it. That seam will be absolutely gorge. I was telling the ladies next year, because what we say in the store, I'm always like, ladies, make it gorge. So if they're making kits for you or whatever they're doing, if we're packing a package, if we're labeling something up, I'm always like, make it gorge. So I was thinking next year our t-shirt could say something like, A1 Vacuum and Sewing, making it gorge. I tell Patrick to make it gorge, and he just ignores me. Oh, there's some thread caught. Let me get that out of there. What is that? Let me cut it. Okay, there we go. Was that the worst angle ever? Sometimes I just don't. There we go. Oh my goodness. And look at that. It's gorge. Okay, I'm going to take it back over here. We're going to press it, and we will be done with our homework. And you know what? If I'm done with my homework, maybe I could start, because this week I'll send a note out today. But this week, I think we are going to get together on Friday. And we get together on Friday. And I had a little boo-boo there. Did I sew that together right? I did. Friday, and we are going to do sections 3 and 4 this week. So I'm going to press this out. But we are done. This is section 1 and 2. Thanks so much for joining me.